Hello, this is 3D Quads again to this model which we exported last time from Blender as FBX, and we imported it here and we baked our maps for this model. If you didn't watch that, go back and push the subscribe button right now. So to start painting or to start adding some textures to this model, we go to the layers. As I mentioned last time, that we have only one material, which is mailbox, and so we go to the layers here and we will start stacking our layers on top of each other to reach the texture that we want for this model. So by default, Substance Painter gives us one paint layer. So if you notice here, I have a brush and it's right now having the white color. If we go down to the settings, we notice that we have a material that has been given like color, height, rough or roughness, metal and normal. We have channels here. These are what we call them the painting channels, and we can add to these channels, and we will do that later in this tutorial. But we have the color, the height, the roughness, the metallic, the normal, and these are stacked on top of each other here down. Okay, and right now the color is white, so if I start painting, you notice that I can paint on this object. Undo, I don't want a paint layer, I need another kind of layer, which is a fill layer. So I need to fill my object with a color. Only this fill layer we'll call it a base color. Base color. Oops. Base color. And for the base color, I don't need the height, I don't need the roughness, but I will keep the metal because I will give it a kind of metallic material here. I don't need the normal, I don't need the emission, I don't need the opacity. We will add them later. I prefer to differentiate the layers that controls these things and put them separately so you can control them later without affecting any other channel. So here we have the base color. I will select something like orangey that matches a mailbox. Let me go for this color. This is too much dark. I can increase the value here, and this color is nice. Okay, then what I will do is I will go for the metallic. Right now it's 0, it means without any metallicness map or metallic map. So I will increase the metal. I don't want to increase it totally so it becomes like a realistic model, but I need it kind of stylized model. So this is the level of metallic that I need, maybe 0.35, around 0.35. That's more than enough for me. So this is the basic layer. This is the first layer, which is the base color and the metallic part of it. Now next we start adding more details to this model, and for that I will add another fill layer. But once I add the other fill layer, you notice that it comes on top of the previous one and it covers it with the new color. So to make it not happen, or to make this effect, to change this behavior, we need to add a mask. So for this fill layer, I will tell Substance Painter that I need a black mask, and the black mask hides this layer and reveals whatever beneath it. So nothing of this layer is visible because it has a black mask on top of it, but the rest of the layers can be visible. So now what I will do is I will select this layer and go for height, or let's say normal, height and roughness. So without metallic, without emission, without opacity, without color, I will just control the height, the roughness and the normal. And here I can remove the mask. By the way, I can remove the mask because the channels that we added here does not interfere with the channels below. So if I remove the mask now, remove the mask, and nothing happens, as you can see, because none of the height or roughness, only the roughness has been affected by the roughness that we specify there. I can increase the roughness or decrease the roughness, but the color and the metallicness or the metallic part will not be affected. So for that, I will just go for height, roughness, and normal. And for this, I will select one of the materials that we have here to act as or to fill these channels for me without start adding them or adjusting them manually. So let's go for something like metallic or steel, iron, as you can see here in the materials tab. We can go for iron raw. This is very smooth. I want some normal and height for it, so I will go for iron grainy and select it and drag it and drop it into the material mode of this layer. But as you can see, the color has been affected. I remove it, and then the metal as well. I don't want the metal. I need it like this. And from here we can start playing with the settings of this material, like the roughness, and within the finish we have the grain intensity, which I will make it a little bit visible. I don't want that grain to be intense like this. I just need it to be very small or very fine, but at least we have some details. Okay, it looks like a metallic box. And if we go for the roughness here, I can also increase the roughness and give it like a shiny look on top of it. That's it. Okay, so this layer controls the details. I'm gonna call it the details, which is the height, roughness, and normal. Now on top of that, now this is the basic shape, but on top of all of these things, if we go now, let me go to add a new layer, another fill layer, but this fill layer, we will use the black mask now. So if I go to black mask and add a black mask, nothing of this layer appears right now. Everything in below or in beneath it appears. I will add here what we call it a filter, but that filter will control the ambient occlusion. Okay, so to do that, we can go for a filter or we can go for a generator. Let's go for a generator now. Let's give the whole object an ambient occlusion effect, and then we can control certain parts of it and give it a specific ambient occlusion using a filter. So I will use a generator. I will add the generator here, and when I add a generator, this is where this is the moment where the maps that we baked earlier will help us a lot, because the generator that we will use is called ambient occlusion. And once you add it, you notice that everything becomes white. It means the ambient occlusion is affecting this object all over the place. But the most important thing is that you can see our maps here, the ones that we baked in the previous session, are used automatically for this generator. And what I will do is I will invert the global, so whatever in white right now represents my ambient occlusion, and usually my ambient occlusion will take the color of the initial material or the base color, but it will be a bit darker. So I will use a darker color for this, and I believe it's too dark, so let's give it a bit of color. Now this is it. Let's see how does this affect our model. If I disable this, you notice the color change. I don't know if using YouTube you will be able to notice the difference, but you notice that within these edges here, or the places where the light might be covered by shadow, it will be darker. So this is what we want. So we put the overall ambient occlusion, so I will call this layer AO, and then we will start adding more details, but not now, in the next session. So for now, thank you very much. I'll see you next.